Everyone talking about Margiela from the Garden, the newest fragrance in the Replica series by Maison Margiela. The notes in this one are tomato leaf, green mandarin, blackcurrant, grapefruit, rose, patchouli, geranium, moss, and white musk. So whenever Margiela releases a new fragrance in the Replica line, I always want to try it immediately. And it's not even that I love everything in the Replica line. Like, it does have some that I really love: By the Fireplace, Jazz Club, Beach Walk, Wicked Love, quite a few others, but there's also plenty that I'm not that huge on. But they're always very, or almost always very unique for a designer and just interesting concepts. And this definitely sounded like it kind of fit that bill of interesting concept and was very curious how it would be. So had to get it immediately. And jumping into the scent, opens immediately crisp and green with that, like, the product page describes it as going for like a sunny afternoon in the garden vibe. And I really think that does carry through. And all of that, not just the part about being in the garden. That would be a pretty big fail if they didn't manage to capture some aspect of that vibe with that being in the title, but specifically the sunny afternoon part too. The citrus is juicy and tart right from the beginning, especially with the black currant, which is very present here. This is not one of those scents where the black currant is like super background or this or that. It's noticeable, to me at least, very front and center. The geranium really contributes to that tartness as well. And if you're wondering how I'm getting anything from this, I saturated this in an actual sample vial to resmell it when talking about it right now. The green is very, as mentioned, crisp and fresh here, like authentic plant garden stems. If you haven't tried tomato leaf as a note, I know that might kind of sound really weird, but it's actually truly not a very weird note or even avant-garde at all like it might sound. It very much just smells like fresh, green, aromatic type of scent. You're not going to smell like ketchup or tomato sauce or anything like that. The grapefruit and green mandarin really contribute to that sunny aspect here, and the green mandarin is very, very present. Again, this isn't one of those scents with that note either, where it's just like used to kind of, add a little bit of something in the opening or something like that. Like, you definitely get that big time here. And yeah, the sunny afternoon part comes through. This isn't like petrichor type of scent or that kind of earthy direction where it's like wet soil after rain or super earthy or anything. I mean, the product description makes it sound like it would be kind of a little bit earthier than to me it is. And from what I've seen of other people talking about it too, saying that it doesn't come across as earthy as the product description kind of makes it sound like it would. Much more kind of upbeat than that. And I would say it even has kind of like a refined quality to it. The geranium here bridges the gap nicely between the citrus in the earlier phase and then the rose that comes out later. And geranium is known for having kind of both citrus and rose nuances, so that makes sense. Makes for like a pretty smooth transition from the earlier citrus, with then the geranium blooms more, and then rose in the later phase. And the rose certainly becomes more present at times, but I would personally never call this a rose-centered fragrance at any point. It's just more like used to add nuance to the garden, but the garden is still primarily green, not floral. To me, the patchouli never really becomes noticeable, which is fine by me as someone who does not like patchouli. It blends really well with the other green notes here, just adds some shadow and depth to the tomato leaf without ever taking over and without getting like pungent or outright dirty. And yeah, overall, I think Margiela and perfumer Olivier Cresp did a great job at making a scent that, as with many in the Replica line, is so much more interesting, has so much more depth than the typical designer scent. And I think this balances herbal green really well without getting too dirty on one side or too flat and watery green on the other side. It's like really nice, crisp and clean style, but also like really does have that realistic garden feel. It doesn't sacrifice, the real garden aspect either. Really well done, I would say, for what it's going for. Not my type of scent to wear because I really, above all, don't like blackcurrant. So I think that's the number one part that makes it just like, yeah, this isn't something that I would wear. I just don't like that kind of tart blackcurrant vibe, but that's just about that note in general. Yeah, I am impressed with this. I think they totally delivered on what it was going for. And I think if you do like the notes in here in general and just the general vibe of it, that'd be worth checking out. I think you don't need to like all the notes in here on their own. Like, I do not like rose and patchouli, but those aspects here do not stand out in any way that would stop me from liking it. But at the same time, if you don't like the idea of a fresh green garden scent, yeah, I don't think this is going to change your mind. But in a way, that's like a credit to them for this, because I do think they did such a good job with the concept. But yeah, I decanted it, so I'll link in the description where you can get samples if you want to check it out or buy it wherever you want. And if you've tried it, let me know what you think.